Okay, so as I was saying, this training, guys, was actually delivered at the beginning of December last year by myself and Sarah Skinner. You might have seen it, you might not have seen it. I apologise for those of you who have seen it if you were on that training. And I know that a lot of us know about 4CC. We know the importance of it. I know it's something that I stress quite a lot, so I'm not going to make you all kind of suck eggs tonight. But I want to talk about this because it's going to lead on to what I'm going to be doing over the next few weeks with these Thursday night trainings. Because even if you are aware of the 4CC, obviously, which majority of us are, apart from Chloe, I think, bless you, welcome to Chloe, joined yesterday with her NDP, so big welcome to you. This will all make perfect sense after our planning meeting, so don't panic about this, Chloe, if you're like, what is she talking about? Because it will make sense very, very soon. But basically, guys, the reason why I want to do this is because not just for yourself, but also in terms of coaching it down and coaching down all the little bits and pieces that go with explaining the building blocks of the business, which is the 4CC rule when you recruit somebody into your business. And the reason why I say that, a lot of planning meetings that I'm having at the moment, there's a lot of people that are wanting to recruit. There are a lot of people with new recruits, with team members, and are getting a little bit lost after the sort of second, third, fourth planning meetings. Or alternatively, someone's been in their team a while and they're just kind of doing the basic coaching, whereas we need to keep stressing the importance of the building blocks. So, as I say, you guys might know this. I know that some of you on here know it already, but I want to go through a couple of bits tonight in a very, very basic way and just touch on this. And also, as I say, record it because I want people to sort of be aware that it's there on YouTube if they need to sort of refresh on it as well. So thank you again for logging on nice and early. We're going to get started straight away. So basically, the building blocks of our business 4CC rule. Okay, so when we all join the business, we all basically get involved in it with the NDP, with the box. Majority of us do anyway. And what can sometimes happen when somebody joins your team is they will often love the idea of it, but they will sort of go into panic mode of not being too sure of what they're doing. So they will sort of wait for a while and they will say, I'll just see what happens, or I'll just do maybe a CC here or there. What you want to be doing when you're coaching your team is saying that 4CC is kind of the absolute minimum right from the beginning. So, for example, as we know, if someone joins our business on the first or second week of the month, we obviously know they get 2CC. We shouldn't then be letting them wait effectively until the next month because, yes, okay, they might have things, going on that they kind of say, oh, well, obviously if they've got personal things or things like that, then you might say, right, okay, we'll start, we'll start properly next month. But, it's going to be in their best interest if they actually start to get up and running straight away. So when they get that box, they're joining that business because they actually want to get started. They want to start earning money. So why wait another 2 or 3 weeks? Why not start earning their money straight away, get them to 4CC and make them eligible for their 5% bonus? Which again, Chloe, I mentioned to you, but I'll explain that more next week in our first planning meeting. So quite simply there, guys, it's saying you cannot always wait for the perfect time because there may be no such thing. Sometimes you must dare to jump. Obviously, we all work the business at our own pace. That's absolutely fine. Some of us went to manager, some of us just retail for a year. It's completely up to us, but it's making sure that whatever we join for, that 4CC is the minimum that we do and that we're aware that that's what we should be doing. It's the only thing the company asks of us when we join. As I just said there again, it's really important. Again, you guys might have been on this training, but to coach it down and start speaking to your team when you're looking at their whys, the reason they joined the business, which is really important. Again, there's a lot of people at the moment recruiting, and I've had experience of this where you might get somebody into your team, and the first 90 days of somebody joining your team are absolutely crucial. If you don't give somebody the best start in the first 90 days, one of two things will happen. You will either lose them because they don't know what they're doing and they're confused, or you will find that they put through dribs and drabs and they're not really doing what they wanted to do in the business because they're not understanding the concept. So the idea is basically from the word go to make sure that their why, as we know, is the most important thing. We all start out with the same vision. We all start the business with the same reason of earning money and having a reason why we want to earn that money. We all start with the same tools, which obviously would be your NDP. We all start with the same dream, which might be obviously some making the money for a reason. So again, not necessarily the same in that respect, but it's going to be, you know, the idea of making money to afford either, you know, money for your holidays, money for a car, money for a house. Money is quite simply to pay your bills or your mortgage. A lot of people want to be their own boss and not be in their day job. So that's a big thing as well. We all start out with the same training. I know I've mentioned this again, but it's really important to keep coaching this down and sort of saying to the team, you know, to the team that you bring in, there's so much available to us. Over the last couple of weeks, I've added some more people to the team pages on Facebook, and I'm not sure why they're not in them, because we should all be starting our team members off with the best training at the beginning. So putting them into the pages that are on there, obviously the 18 page, making sure they know about Forever Living, Forever Knowledge, the Aloe Pod, just generally YouTube, you know, have them subscribe to Ange Lockwood's YouTube channel. There's so much available, and it's often the case sometimes with a new distributor that after sort of a couple of months they say, oh, I got a little bit lost, so I'm not doing so much anymore. So as much as, you know, as I say, you guys might have seen this, might have been on this training in December, I want to just stress tonight really with this moving forward that these are the kind of things that we need to be training and coaching down from as soon as somebody joins our team. The same knowledge, so we all start out with the same knowledge, which pretty much at the beginning is not a lot. We might have heard of aloe vera, we might have heard maybe or maybe not of network marketing, but it's really making sure that we're kind of saying to somebody, you know, we were all in the same boat at the beginning, and this is how we get started and we get moving our business forward. And of course, the same box, as well as the tools of the coaching and stuff like that, you've also got the same box. So, you know, nobody who does exceptionally well or builds exceptionally fast means that they have anything different to that box that everybody else would have. Your journey begins with your business in a box. It's really important to get excited when someone joins your team, for them and for you. So again, I think the majority of people on the call as well are also, you know, setting up one-to-ones at the moment and looking to grow their team. And that is the same with a lot of people that unfortunately can't make the call. I've had like, I think 2 or 3 messages in the last kind of 10 minutes saying, I'm gutted I can't be on tonight's training. So, you know, it's just kind of me saying, you know, these are important to say, look, you know, even though you've heard them before, always remember where you came from. So when you joined the business and you ordered your business in a box, the excitement was probably massive. And the whole, you know, the comment that we say, when you get your box, it's like Christmas. I said that to Chloe yesterday. And it really is kind of instilling that excitement into your new team member, because somebody very quickly, again, can join the team. They can get their box and they can say, oh, we'll get a planning meeting in the next few weeks. It's too slow. That doesn't mean that can be too slow in terms of the fact that they might just retail, but you need to make sure that you get that excitement up from the beginning to show them just what they've got their hands on. Then you get to work. Obviously, we trial the products. I spoke to somebody recently, 2 people actually this week, who have got the NDP quite recently, and they're using 2 or 3 products out that box, and the rest of them I've sort of said, well, what are you doing with? And it's kind of like, oh, well, not a lot, because I don't think I would necessarily use those particular products. I don't know how we would look at really building even just a retail business if we don't use all the products that are supplied. And again, that's saying to our team, you know, when they join and throughout our journey and their journey, what new products have you tried today? You know, every time I put in an order, I will order something new, or I'll order something that I've seen recommended on a team page or in maybe the customer testimonial page, or a training. I think Dr. Peter Atherton, the training that me and Deb went on for the All About Aloe a while ago, Becky and Hayley went on it last week, and they've had some information that we didn't learn at ours, and that was about the R3 factor being amazing for acne scars, which I'd never heard. I always recommended obviously the Propolis and the R3. So you need to be knowing enough what's going on in terms of the products to be able to sort of make sure that you're using enough. And I think I use about 25 products a day now, which is obviously where that 1cc comes from, because I obviously use all the personal care stuff, but I also take the shakes. I also take the fast break bars when I'm on the go. I also drink the Fab when I'm in the car. You know, you've got to be using enough products. So obviously encouraging our team to get in that box, get them on them, in them, all the rest of it. And also, of course, showcase all the products by having a business launch. We know this. Obviously, again, Chloe, I'll go through this with you, but we know that we need to start our business off by launching it to a group of people, showcasing what we do in terms of the products, and also showcasing what we do in terms of obviously the business. They may become team members either on the night or down the line, because they can't get, you know, what you said out of their head, which has been something that's happened to me a few times before. So business launch is massive, and obviously we know that, and it's really important to say to our new people as well that it's not about just having a launch when they get the box. It's about making sure they really have a minimum of one launch a month, so that we're keeping that product knowledge up, and we're also keeping ourselves excited and them excited in showing them the products. Also, with the launches, guys, if you've got people local to you, new team members, I would always suggest doing their first launch, unless they're massively confident. I would always say do their first launch for them. And also, potentially, if they're looking to recruit quite soon, then you might want to also do their first one-to-one, or in the past, I've done people's first planning meeting, just to kind of get them up and running. Product use, obviously, this is, you know, second knowledge to a lot of us. We know this already. In any business, you need to know and understand what it is that you're selling and recommending. So again, we know, be a product of the products. I've just said that. A little bit of a kind of information, if you don't know this or you've not heard this at your local BP, 80% of our revenue is generated on 20% of our products, and that 20% is actually in the box. It's actually in the NDP that we get. So basically being able to kind of say, look, you know, you've got the best of the best, and that's 20 products out of 200. So if we're not using every one of those, then how are we able to retail anything else? So we need to get sort of using them straight away. Knowledge is key. Obviously, you've got the product brochure even in your NDP. There's people new to the business at the moment who I'm speaking to again, whether it's frontline or downline, you know, it happens to all of us, but I'm kind of saying, you know, a lot of the questions are very, very simple, and the answers are in that product brochure that come in your box. So again, as well as all the websites and stuff, are we using the basics that are in the box as well? Do all the product training that you're given, and then some, which is Ange Lockwood's favourite saying at the moment, and then some, and then some. So it's just doing as much as you can. Again, there's trainings up and down the country, like I mentioned, the All About Aloe. Dawn Parker does a lot of the beauty trainings now. Louise Riley started doing them. Obviously, David Urch, our vet, as well, gives some fabulous training. So there's supplement days as well, which are quite new now, that I'm quite excited to sort of get on those, because supplements are always an area that we don't necessarily look at it unless we need to recommend it to somebody. So do as much training as you can, use the pages. And obviously, guys, if you haven't used any of those ones for a while, or also pass them on to your team, it's important. It's all very well having planning meetings with your team and looking at their CCs, and maybe if they want supervisor or manager, or where they're going, and volume mapping their CCs, which again, Chloe, I'll explain that, don't worry about that. But it's also important to know that your team are using these, because often you'll find, and I've been experienced this, a couple of months into somebody's business, you'll say, oh, isn't that brilliant on Forever Knowledge? And they say, Forever Knowledge, what's that? You actually don't realise how much you kind of have to remind your team what is available to them. And you'll find as well that it's often people that have been in your business maybe a few months that you haven't ever said to them over a planning meeting, you know, recently, or when was the last time you went on QLS? You know, if you watched the QLS training pods recently, maybe if they're struggling with their contact list or their who do you know list, tell them to go back and watch developing your contact list, which is one of the first videos on the QLS site that we're given to watch. If you're passing down my coaching, I pass it down to you guys. And then we should be sending out those first 6 training pods within their first sort of week, really, when they've just like waiting for their box and when they get their box. If you're not doing that, and then you're wondering why your team members not doing the basics, not having parties, not doing the 4CC, the reason sometimes cannot be your team member, it can be you. And that's something that I found out quite early on, of saying, oh, they're not doing stuff, and then thinking, hang on, how much have I given them? How much have I made sure that they know what they're doing? So that's really important to make sure that's available to them. Obviously, as well as that, I think you've got, as well as Vital Science, you've got the Allo Pod, you've got YouTube, and obviously you've got all the 18 pages. So I think there's a few more on there, but it just gives you an idea of how much is obviously available to us. And then of course you've got success days and training days as well up and down the country that I've just mentioned. So begin by using all the products in your NDP, make it your business so that you can confidently talk about them all as soon as possible. So exactly like I said there, get using them. I've got, I'll tell you, I've got somebody in my team at the moment who is kind of like drinking the gel and using the deodorant and wondering why they can't really get a customer base. And it's really simple to say, well, what are you using? Like I said before. So you're going to build your regular customer base on using enough products and just talking about them everyday life. Your customer base, again, this is a big tip maybe for yourself if you're new, or maybe you're struggling to get customers. But also, again, when you're coaching down, you need to be saying to your team in planning meetings, whether it's face to face or Skype or whatever, let's have a look at your customer book. How many people buy from you once a month? If they've got less than probably 15 or 20, that's probably where they're struggling. So you need to make sure that people have got a good 15 to 20 people, 20 to 30 ideally. But obviously, the more you have, the more you're guaranteeing CCs. So I do a CC of personal a month, which we know about. And then I do, generally every month, I do sort of pretty much, I say 1 to 2, but it's probably more 2 of regular customers. And that's not including the customers that I will find as newly in the month if I do an event or I ask for a referral, or obviously new people coming from put boxes. So if you can do one of your personal, 1 CC, and then, for example, you can do, 1 to 2 of your customer base, then you're getting your sort of 2 to 3 CC before anything else has even happened with your launches, your parties, your put boxes, anything like that, which is why we say if you coach correct from the beginning, your 4 CC will happen for you and your team from day one. So you won't ever get any real dips in your team. Everybody will do the 4 CC because they start as they mean to go on. Just so you know as well, Chloe, the CC basically, hon, is just an internal currency that we use in the business, so that we have a point system allocated to each product. And that's how we work out how much money we make by CCs or case credits is what we call it. But again, I'll explain all of that to you next week. Put boxes, obviously, guys, we know about this. Put boxes quite simply. We make a sample box, we put lots of products in there, and we go and share them with people that we know and love. We give it them 5-6 days, and we take it away, and hopefully we get an order. Again, speak to your team on that. Say to somebody, how many put boxes have you got out this month or this week? If you've not had a planning meeting with one of your team for any reason, if they've cancelled or you've had to cancel for 2 weeks, and you say to them, how many put boxes have you had out since I last spoke to you, which might have been 2 weeks, and they say 1, and you say, well, that's an area to look at then, because you need to be having 2 put boxes going out a week. And if your team members that coming to you and saying, I'm not getting my CCs, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting customers, this, that, and the other, and you question these kind of things and say, well, where are we at with put boxes? If we're not sending a minimum, really, of 2 out a week, which is 8 a month, that's a massive area where we can lose CCs, which is a very simple way of making CCs because our put boxes work when we potentially don't. More launches, absolutely. Like I've said, many people, and I was guilty of this. You'll have a launch to launch your business, and then you'll find that 2 or 3 months down the line, you might find that all your regular customers who started off supporting you at the beginning will drop off, and you've also stopped doing your launches or your parties. So that's a really important one, to make sure that you've got enough parties happening as well. And again, with your team, making sure that your team are doing all the stuff they need to do. You need to become a product of your. I'm just going to check something. Bear with me, guys. Oh no, we're okay. Just making sure that we become a product of the products, which we know about already as well. I actually went to a networking event today and had my big burnt blistered hand, which is incredibly painful right now. Even talking to you, it's throbbing all the time. Any of you don't know, I've got boiling water on my hand, which wasn't very nice. But basically, I was talking about that, and I got loads of interest today about the products, because I was actually talking about the fact that I didn't have to go to A&E because I use the jelly, it's pure aloe, blah blah blah. So you have to be talking about the products and be passionate about them, which we know, because that's how we build the business. Again, launches, again, in terms of yourself and also your team, when you're coaching your team, it's often the case a few months into someone's business, whether it's again frontline or downline, or maybe you've got someone third generation to you who's maybe not doing as much. Feel free to get them back up and running again and say, go on, let's have a launch. Let's get let's go to a local pub, or let's do a little launch in a coffee morning, a coffee morning in a church or something like that. Do it with them. I've stepped back recently into people's businesses and kind of gone, look, let's get you up and running again. Let's go and relaunch your business. It's never too late to kind of start again. Encourage them this as well, obviously, which we know. If you don't tell people what you're doing and you don't showcase the products, how do you expect to retail them? Which is what I've just said. We make sales and begin to build our regular customer base. So again, that repeats the information that I've just said. We also gain people's interest in the business. This is just a big one to touch on in terms of, again, yourself and also your team. We've also got quite a lot of people who have got team who are now recruiting and looking to build their teams. And it's a really important thing with this one to be saying to people, have they gone back to their customers and mentioned the business? I've seen 2 people recently in another team who have had their regular customers join the business with another distributor. It's one of them was a manager and one of them I think was a supervisor, but it's devastating because it's a case of going, well, have I spoken to my customers about the business? And she's not on the call tonight, but I had a great planning meeting with Kat Daniels last week, and we talked about this, and she was like, oh my God, I've got so many customers that absolutely love the products. And I said, have you ever mentioned the business? And it was like, well, no, because I don't think they do the business. They just love the products. And I went, but that's where a lot of people come from in this business, from loving the products. So that's a big thing to think about, just to kind of reiterate that to anybody who might not be doing that at the moment. And I've gone back and done that with a lady who had a put box before Christmas with me. Knew she loved Dallo, only ever ordered one product from me, and thought, I've never mentioned the business. I put the book in the put basket, the business brochure, but never really talked about it. And I went back to a couple of weeks ago, and last week she came back to me and said, oh God, I hate my job. And I was like, oh, right, okay. So I mentioned the business, and I've got a one-to-one with her this Sunday. And I've only ever given her a put box, and she bought a jelly. So again, don't ever stop thinking that maybe your customers might actually have a little bit more of an interest in the business than you think. And again, like I've just said there, they're not a one-off event. They shouldn't happen at the start of your business and then stop. They do guarantee pretty much 1 to 2 CC. So why would you not try and have one, once a month? Because that's a guaranteed case credit, which means you then aren't panicking about your case credits. Put boxes again, again, the majority of us know what they are, how they work, but just to touch on these, again, potentially for you, Chloe, it just stands for personal use product pack. So, we find people to try some products for us, and I'll explain all that as well in our planning meeting. Making it specific to the person. I just want to give a quick example of this, what I've done recently. I've had a lady who I met at an event, and I've started now to ring people up, even if somebody has already had a put box from me in the past and potentially ordered. I've actually offered a different type of put box. So say, for example, when I meet them at an event, I call them and I give them a put box, which is your soap, your shampoo, your general personal care products. I've actually recontacted people at the moment that I gave put boxes to, a good few months ago, and just said, hi, how are you? How's life? Just a bit of a general chit chat. And they've gone, oh yeah, it's okay. But, I've put on loads of weight. And I'm looking to just be a little bit healthier again. And I thought, obviously, if they're local, I can meet them and talk about the C9 and XYZ. But could I potentially say, well, do you know what? What if I did you a put basket that was a little bit more centered around the weight management? So maybe I'll go and give them a new pup, knowing they've maybe put weight on, they want to be healthier, and I'll pop a couple of laminates in there, which might have before and after pictures of people on the C9. So they're already a customer. they already trust you. They've already placed, an order for a couple of products because they love them. Maybe they've reordered that product, but what else would they potentially look at 5 months down the line in their life that you might not have offered them 5 months ago with that first put box, for example? So don't ever think that you can't give somebody a put box twice, or you can't go and revisit somebody with a different type of put box. Because I've noticed recently that's been quite interesting for me, because people's lives change. And, I had somebody else who developed severe psoriasis, and that was a year ago. And they never had that when I gave them the first put box. So, that's important as well. Take time to explain the products. Again, this is a big one. I think, again, the majority of you on the call know this, and I know that you do it, but this is a big one going forward when you recruit as well, and you're looking at new people and you're explaining put boxes to maybe somebody who's just joined your business. I spoke to 2 people last week who are third generation down from me, and I said, "Oh, how are your put boxes going?" They said, yeah, I've just dropped one off with a lady, and it was like brilliant. And I said, "Oh, did you manage, to explain what she's got?" And she said, "Oh, no, I just, we were both so busy that I just left her the basket." Now, how does that lady know that the jelly can go anywhere you can reach? She's looking at the jelly thinking, "Oh, it looks like a bit of maybe aloe vera jelly for your sunburn." Well, it's winter. And what I was finding with this recently is people were saying, "Oh, I got the put box back, but she only used the soap. She didn't really use the other stuff." And when I say, "Did you take the time to explain what they do?" often it can be, "Well, no, because we didn't have time." If we're not explaining that, then how do we know that they're going to get used, and how do they know what they do? So that's a big thing when you're mentioning put boxes to your new people in your team. You need to be making sure that they are aware of the fact that they need to explain them. And also laminates. I use laminates a lot at the moment in my put boxes, so feel free to pass that down to your team as well. Again, it's recorded, so hopefully people will hear that on here. But I use quite a lot of laminates to explain, what the products do, like the one that we've got of heat lotion and the jelly and all the products that it can replace. I put that into my put box and my put basket now, and it's had a massive effect, because what I'm finding, I'm getting more orders of heat lotion and jelly because they see what it could replace that they already own. So be kind of like quite clever with what you're going to do. And again, guys, pass that down. Ask for their own personal feedback. Some people use feedback forms. Some people will pop in a feedback form. What I do is just ask them to personally tell me what they like and what they didn't like, but it depends on whatever works for you. Ask them what they liked and didn't like. It's important to know if someone doesn't like something. Again, sometimes people will get a little bit upset. And again, this has happened last week with somebody 4th generation to me. I've got all this written down because I want to give examples. Obviously, I'm not going to, say names, but it's just like sometimes people are saying, "Oh, well, they said they didn't like any of it." And it's like, well, why didn't they like it? Were they allergic? Did they not use it for the right things? Did they not know what it was for? Was it the fact that, okay, they just didn't like it? No problem. We don't all love everything. We need to know where the feedback's coming from, because otherwise it can get us a little bit upset and we can think, "Oh, they're not really interested." Always offer a thank you for trying them. I always drop in an aloe lips or a hand sanitizer, or I've started recently to cut up the avocado hand and face soap into 6 pieces, like I did at Christmas, and then I will pop that into a very small organza bag, and they get a little piece of soap. It doesn't cost you anything, and even if they don't order at that time, I've had people go, "Oh, how lovely," and then they'll message me 2 weeks later and say, "That soap you gave me smells amazing. I actually will order that heat lotion now." So you're keeping that seed sown all the time. That's quite a good idea that I've tried recently. So feel free to try that one. That seems to work quite well. And respect their opinion. Like I've just said, not everybody is going to love what you have to offer. Not at all. Fairs and stalls, obviously. A lot of us know, again, on the call tonight, again, Chloe, I'll go through this with you, but basically doing your fairs and your stalls, we know that this is something which we do to grow our business. Finding them, obviously, we've got Stall Finder. I think there's a couple of Facebook pages now as well where you can search in your local area for events, which is quite a good idea. So you sort of look at your local area and sort of add yourself to the Facebook pages. That's quite a good idea. And again, you might see flyers in your area. You might see things on car windscreens and whatnot, and go and find them. Be professional and wear a Forever logo uniform. I never used to do this at events, and I've noticed a massive difference since I've started to wear a simple black top with Forever on the front of it. I can't stress that enough. Doing an event in your own clothes, yes, it's fine. You're still doing an event, but you're representing the company. And when people see that, it looks like a very, very professional. Looks like your own business, which is what it is. You're not doing it for forever. You're doing it for you. So if you haven't got yourself a logo top, and it's so simple, mine was a Primark top, and it cost me, I think it was £5 to get a logo put on at a local printer's. So it's not expensive, you know, and again, it's being a product of the product. If you're wearing it, you're massively passionate about it, which I often find after the days when I've done this, I actually get more response and I end up getting more sales. And it actually really, really is a big thing when you're looking to build your team as well, because people are seeing that you're, you know, you're very, very proud of what you're doing. You're not just selling a product, you're actually wearing that logo. So it seems small, but it's actually massive. Obviously, we're having plenty of time, be professional, make sure you set up, display your products neatly, always stand in front of your table. Again, this is something that, again, it's pretty obvious, but again, coach it down to your team, guys. Make sure you're saying to people, and obviously remember yourself, that you need to be able to stood there at the front. I've always at the moment got either a little pump bottle with some propolis or jelly in it, or serum, or I've got the perfume. Because when they stop, you're approachable, you smile, you spray them or whatever, and then it gets you into obviously conversation. Just a tip with fairs and stalls as well, another one that I've said before, but quite simply with fairs and stalls, you need to be making really, really sure that you're not going there expecting to sell and coming away with you know, 60, 70 pounds in your pocket. I do so many events, so many little local things that I don't put on here, that are just scout hut, mums groups, coffee mornings, bits and pieces that I do that I find in the local area. And I never go with the intention of selling. I go with the intention of meeting people, and obviously using our free prize draw questionnaire forms, because for me, that has resulted in so much in terms of, you know, retail and also team members down the line if you are looking to build your contact list. It's good to talk contact marketing. So obviously we've touched on this before. I don't think any of us, or although I probably do it 24/7 without even thinking about now, I don't think the majority of us do enough contact marketing. And what I mean by that is, again, that's not giving ourselves hours and hours and hours of going and doing it, but it's doing it without thinking about. And I think Deb's a great one for this. I know that we've talked about this, and I think we were out a while ago, and Deb just, you know, came back to the table and got her card and a flyer and went back and spoke to the lady at the bar and was like, easy as that. So, you know, it's just making sure, again, that if we're doing it, coach it down to our team. And what I would say with your team as well is really, really feel free. Oh, I'm just going to mute someone. I've got a bit of feedback. Bear with me a second. Oh, I think that's Jackie. I think Jackie's just joined us. Good evening, Jackie. It is recorded, Jackie, so I will pop up the recording shortly, hopefully tonight, if it all works out okay. So you can have a little look at this. I don't think you're on this in December, so you can have a little look at this shortly and see what you've missed. But yeah, it's really important as well when you're, especially when you're looking to build a team, and like I say, there's quite a few of us looking to go to manager in the next few months, and it's important to be aware of, it might be that you're doing it, it might be brilliant, but again, are you stressing to your team how simple it is to do this? And if they are, if they are struggling, or they are nervous, or they are new, or they are saying, oh my God, I've got no idea how I do that, go out contact marketing. I've done it with some of this team. I haven't done it as much as I'd like to do, really, just because life takes over, which I've, you know, and if anybody local who, you know, is local to me or somebody else in the team, you know, set up a contact marketing day. It's great fun. I did it with Becky, I did it with Sarah, and I've done it with Kat. And I've done it with obviously Sarah Skinner. So my upline, when I first started, I actually said to her, I need a bit of experience in what to say when they asked me. So me and Sarah met halfway between where we lived, and we spent 3 or 4 hours in a shopping centre. So, you know, use the fact that maybe you're confident, but if you bring somebody new into your team, it's all very well sitting there going planning meeting week after week after week and having Skypes. But if they're looking to grow their team and maybe they hate their job and they want to get out, and you're okay with contact marketing, take them out for the day, take them with you, you know, show them how it's done. Because again, I said it before, and you know, it's coming up a lot at the moment in a lot of trainings, and also our manager trainings. The business is monkey see, monkey do. And if you if you're saying to your team, yeah, go out and get contact marketing, get 5 contacts a day, find a common ground, just drop the business into the conversation. I did this for a little bit at the beginning of my journey because I started to do it. But then when I realised that my team was struggling, I was a case of, right, I need to go out and show them what to do. So don't ever think that by you telling them they'll go and do it. They often need to see you do it. So make sure that you're going out and obviously showing them how it's done. Obviously, this has changed a little bit from when we did it, and I think the majority of us on here know this, but you can't ever sort of like know enough about in terms of the profit and stuff, because again, this is something that you can pass down to your team, and you need to be really clear on this as well. It's really important when someone joins your team and they're going, so how much do I make, so what's my commission, so what do you mean by the bonus? You have to know what it is that you're talking about when you talk about these kind of things. When someone's new, it's a bit of a head mash, to be honest. And I met with my lady last week, and by the end of the planning meeting, she went, oh my God, there's so much to take in, but I think I get it. But I need to make sure that she gets it in the next few weeks, because I want to make sure that she's clear on how she's earning and how much she's earning and where it's coming from and how it's broken down. So again, revisit this yourself if you don't understand, because if you are building a team, you need to be able to coach this confidently down. So obviously 1cc, as we know, it's a little bit more now. It's £159 wholesale, and it's 227 retail. And then 1cc earns you approximately £50 profit. Okay, so basically, again there, guys, if you're doing your 4cc, which we should all be doing every single month and coaching that down, you're earning £200 straight away. So we're saying to people, you really can, £400. Sorry, I apologise. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So basically, you need to go and tell your team what they're earning. And make sure they understand that if they do the 4cc, they're basically looking at that income straight away. And again, you need to touch on from the very beginning that your 4cc also means that you're eligible for your 5% bonus. So obviously you've got your extra there, which is your 5%, which you get, and then obviously you've got £58 as a total, which means that your 4cc, your wholesale is a little bit more than that now, and then obviously you're approximately £800. So 4cc, earns you the £200 profit, which I originally said, and then obviously you've got your bonus. So that's without all of your little extras that you might have going on if you do more than 4cc, or if you do 2 parties, or you end your business on 7-8cc 1 month. It's very easy to earn money very quickly, but people won't see the benefit of it if they're putting through 1 or 2 cc's. And it's happening at the moment as well. In a couple of other teams, I'm speaking to some managers, and they're saying, oh yeah, well, she doesn't really understand the profit margin, so she's basically decided not to do so much. And it's like, well, it's our responsibility to coach how the profit works so they understand. And then again, what I've done recently, and Becky's really good with this, is she will coach a team, that one case credit of gels is selling 11. So if you sell 11 yellow drinking gels, you've done a case credit. So for example here, 9 C9s, I think it's a little bit less than that now, because it was a little bit of a higher case credit value before, but you're looking at 9 C9s being sort of four case credits, and that is just C9s. So if you have a great month of C9s and you push, maybe you get 4 or 5, maybe not as many as 9 unless you're flying, but you're still getting your profit on just one area of the business. So if you're struggling to do 4cc, or any of your team are, you need to look at why you're struggling, because when you volume map, which majority again of you on here know, if you don't, obviously Chloe, I'll go through that with you, and you break your kind of profit into activity, it should be very achievable for us to go out and get our 4cc minimum every single month. Recruiting, obviously a lot of people doing this at the moment. As I've mentioned, a lot of people looking to go to manager. Something that I am going to do on a training, because it seems to be coming up a lot, and it's a brand new sort of training that I'm working on at the moment in terms of ratio, and obviously talking about saying, if we speak to our 10 a day, for example, is it enough to get us recruits? How many one-to-ones do we need to have recruits? So we know that we need to be speaking to an awful lot of people if we want to recruit. And like I touched on last week, I think it was week before, 2 weeks ago, with recruiting, all the different ways that we can recruit. So again, we've got, content marketing, we've got flyer drops, business launches, social media. I've certainly got, a big chunk of my team from Facebook alone, and there's so many more other social media sites. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really understand it. But the fact that you've got, a couple of platforms to use, and that's just one area. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kind of areas to recruit there. And what I would say is you really need to be working on and coaching your team to do 3 or 4 of those, not just do 1 or 2. A lot of people at the moment are saying to me, oh, I dropped off 100 neighbours letters, or I went and posted 200 flyers. I'm just going to wait for someone to come back now. Flyers are very, very rare. I got my lady last month, the last day of the month in January, from a flyer, Brenda. But it's not the only thing I do. I've done everything on that page, and the flyer just happened to get me a recruit last month. But if I only did the flyering, probably wouldn't have happened, because I wasn't doing enough. Andy Waring speaks. I watched a great training with Andy Waring last week, and I thought it was amazing. And he talked about the kind of law of not attraction. Oh, I'm going to forget now. Oh, it's gone. I'll have to have a look at the training. But it was basically saying that it's like, again, the ratio really of the more people you speak to, and if you do enough work, the universe, a bit like what Jackie says really, and Deb and that leg of the team, very much law of attraction as well, and saying, if you do enough, you get the results. So it's really important to be like, if I'm not getting the results, am I doing enough? So again, you've got all these ways here. Friends and family is massive. If your friends and family don't support you, which has happened, and it's happened to people recently in this team, and it's not nice at all. I've had to deal with a few things recently from people who've been very upset and hurt by maybe not being supported because people don't understand what this business is. Don't kind of fear that. Use that as a platform to drive you, but also use that as a referral, and say, fine, if it's not for you, do you know anybody else who would want to have better health or more money or whatever? Fairs and stalls, obviously, like I've said, I have an awful lot of retail that's come from cold market people, that's fairs and stalls, because I obviously follow up with questionnaires that I've had filled in. And of course, following up leads and working your who do you know list. This is probably the main one, the bottom one, and this is something that's really important to coach into your team. It's really, really easy to kind of say to your team, do a who do you know list, write down 100 people. If you've got 100 people, and then on a planning meeting say, how are you getting on with that who do you know list? Are you doing all right? Are you contacting people? Which is where I've gone right back since sort of November last year to a lot of my team, and I've actually gone, right, let's get your who do you know list out. Let's look at who we're contacting. Let's write down our 10 a day to make sure that we're getting our contacts. If you're not sure what to say to someone because maybe they're a big business, high-flying boss of a company, let's profile them and use the profile pages in our First Steps to Manage a book, which, by the way, Chloe, you get your First Steps to Manage a book in your box, so we'll go through that. So really, again, recruiting wise, as well as for yourselves, if you're looking to recruit and your team are looking to recruit, make sure you're coaching down what everybody needs to be doing. Recruiting 2 people into your business, we know is 4cc, because we know that obviously one person with an NDP is 2cc. Again, Chloe, don't panic. I'll go through all that with you, hon. We know that sponsoring bonus is another big reason to be able to basically boost our income. And just to touch on this for anyone who doesn't know, or again with your team, make sure you're coaching this down. Anyone who's not on the training tonight, or again, if you bring somebody new in, I think there was 8 people that were new to the team last month, which is amazing. But what I'm finding already is that some people are saying, oh, I didn't know that, or I've not been tagged in the pinned post. Where's the pinned post on Happy Success or on the A team? And I think that's the first thing I do when someone joins my team. So you have to make sure that you're passing all this information down straight away, so you're giving them the best start. But make it clear to them that when they start with their NDP, they're eligible for this extra bonus, as well as the 5%, and of course the 30%. They're eligible to be getting £39, £45, 54 or 64, depending on where they are in the marketing plan. Obviously, when they start with an NDP, they're here. So, you know, if they're looking at maybe potentially just retail, and you said, you know what, if you start to share the business opportunity with people, you can get £40 for everybody who joins. Straight away, that could make someone go, oh, brilliant. So if I get 3 people to work with, I've got another couple, you know, 130 quid, 120 quid. Yeah, you have. Oh, brilliant. Right, I'll start doing that. So make sure they know what's on offer to them, because there you go. 2 new people has got you 78 quid. It's massive. So the breakdown of CCs, again, I think most of you know this. Again, some of you might have seen this on the training in when this happened in sort of early December last year. But again, it feels relevant at the moment. Maybe not for yourself if you guys know a lot of what I'm saying here, but it's terms of coaching down. It's Chinese whispers at the moment, and I'm getting a lot of people saying, oh, I'm just doing my 4cc, just doing my 4cc. And I'm saying, why are you just doing your 4cc? Oh, well, I've been coached just to do 4 because that's what we do. No, it's not what we do. It's the minimum that we do. But let's try to do a little bit more. Let's try and volume map. You know, with your team, the volume mapping needs to happen at the very, very start of every month. I spoke to someone last week and I said, have you volume mapped, you know, your team? And they said, oh, I'm doing it next week. And that was the 5th of February when they said it. So they've waited nearly 2 weeks to volume up their team. That's 2 weeks in the month that we've lost. So, you know, when you are coaching, you've got a responsibility, A, obviously for yourself, but B, to help people understand. And if you're not doing this yourself, then you're not going to be able to coach it successfully. So make sure you're breaking down your CCs, and then make sure that you're breaking down your team CCs. So again, we know this without really having to go into it. It's quite obvious for a lot of us on here tonight. 1cc, obviously personal use, to make sure we're using enough customers. Enough products even. Regular customers, you've actually got more in there because you've got personal use, which is 1. This is a little bit different to how I plan it and how I think a lot of other people do it. This was just done, I think, by Sarah before Christmas as a general, but we should be doing 1cc personal use plus an easy 1cc of customers. So there's 2 at the top, really. 1cc, you've got parties, pups, stalls, and talking. If you do 1cc at a party, your pups and your stalls might be half a cc. You might do half a cc from general chit chat. So you can actually kind of do a lot more than 1. That's a very, very low end of looking at your activity. Obviously, we know, as I said, again, NDP, 1 person, 2cc. And the next NDP is 2cc. So already you're at 6, and that's a minimum. So if we are volume mapping ourselves at a minimum of sort of 6 and then a maximum of, say, 12, we shouldn't really end on less than 6. But if we're only volume mapping our team at 4, which I've seen happen a few times lately, and they struggle, they might end up ending on like 3.1, and they've lost out on the 4cc, which might be the 3-month pin or the 6-month pin, whatever they're going for, and the certificate, which is quite nice to get recognised. But also they've lost out on the 5% bonus. So, you know, really, really, you know, stress that 4cc and why it's great for them to do it, because what do they get? It's not about us, you know, what do they get for doing it? So will you commit to making this happen for yourself this month? Well, hopefully we all will. Hopefully 4cc is the minimum. We know that. That's why we do it. It's the one thing we're asked to do, and it's the one thing that we should be doing every single month without fail. And then obviously my kind of question tonight really is making sure that we are coaching this into our team to make sure they do it every single month. Obviously, some people in the team just aren't focused on it and won't do it. But obviously, you know, as we know, we can't spend too much time, you know, on those people, because we need to be working with the ones that are committed to their business in order for you to help them really. 4cc, obviously, we know we're just going to wrap this up. There's about a couple more slides and then we're done. Obviously, we've touched on it at the beginning. Minimum requirement to be active if you're building your business to become manager and beyond. I think I've mentioned to quite a lot of you before and on other trainings as well. Again, Chloe, I'll go through this, but you know, it's getting into the habit of 4cc from the very beginning, like I've said, because obviously you can lose out on a lot down the line if you don't do 4cc. And once you get to supervisor, if you don't do 4cc, people start to get your money, which is not nice, because you know, you're doing the work and you're not getting your 4cc because your activity is not high enough, which means that your upline will end up getting your money, which is not nice. In any month that you're going for a promotion, you need to be 4cc in active in both qualifying months. So This is quite an important one as well, guys, to be aware of in terms of your team. If you've got people even just going for supervisor, and obviously we know that they need 2 consecutive months to achieve it, if they have a great month, and then the next month they struggle. I mean, it's unlikely that I think this would happen in this team because of the way that we coach and the way that I've always wanted to be able to coach it down to you guys and what we do. But I've seen it in other teams that they have a great month, they get 6cc, and then the following month, their team member might get 3.6 and just go, I've just been a really bad month. And even though them and their team have actually qualified for the next promotion, they've lost out on it because they've not been 4cc active. So any months that you're going for a promotion, it's absolutely crucial that you're 4cc, because you lose out on the promotion and then you've got to go right back and rebuild that promotion up, which is just soul destroying if you miss out on that. Again, their 4cc active is 1cc of personal retail. So we need to make sure, again, and this is really important, if you're bringing in people into your team, a lot of people will say, oh, I've done 2cc, or they'll say, right, I've got someone looking at the business. So I've got 2 people in the team, for example, who joined NDP, done my 4cc. This happened at the beginning of my journey with a couple of people in the team. I coached this down and it didn't get coached down, unfortunately. Explained, I guess enough, because people are new to the business and it sadly can happen. But then what happens is people will then say, oh, I've done my 4cc, but you need to understand that 1cc of that has to be product. So there must be 1cc of product going through your business every single month, and then the other 3cc can be made up however you want. This basically makes it an ethical business, because it means that we have to have product being passed through our business, which makes it a non-pyramid scheme. So feel free to use that. There must be the passing of product, which makes it a non-pyramid scheme. No product means a pyramid, which is why we're not a pyramid. Once you're a manager, you will not receive your team leading bonus if you're not 4cc active. So basically, this is what I said to you guys previously, and I stressed this in a planning meeting the other day with somebody who wasn't on the training that I mentioned this in, and they were just absolutely shocked. It's actually a little bit more, it's more than that for me now, but if I'm not doing my 4cc, if I have a tough month or a bad month or something happens, there's kind of thousands of pounds at stake, which is just, you just wouldn't lose out on it. God, if it meant putting through 2cc yourself because you're away, or you had a family crisis, or I just don't think you would do it. So don't ever get into the habit of having, not doing your 4cc, because once you get to that level, it's got to happen every single month without fail. It's going to be a lot easier for you to get there if you do it every month from the offset. And this is quite important, again, just to wrap this up, really going a little bit further on. Once you're a manager and you have a manager underneath you, your leadership criteria changes. And this is important for people who have got a few people in their team, but maybe they're not all frontline and they're going towards manager. You must have as many frontline as possible. And this business works on a lot of people doing a little bit, not, hang on, yeah, that's right. Not a few people doing a lot, because what you'll find is, as a manager with frontline managers, you need to then be 12cc active outside of your manager legs, which basically means, in a nutshell, if you've got lots of people that are working with you and say lots of them, say 6 or 7 drop off, and you've only got 2 people that are doing something in your team, but one of them has a big team underneath them, which is called their leg, and they go and produce enough CCs to get you to manager, but then the other person that you've got does 6cc, then you'll become an unrecognised manager. So you need to have 12 CCs happening outside of any leg in your business that is a manager, which basically means you need to recruit enough people into your business to make sure that you have enough active business. If that confuses anybody, please ask me and I'll go through that one by one, or in your planning meetings. Which is why it's got down there at the bottom. You and your existing business needs to be a total at least 12cc, or you will not get paid. And again, that could be something simple as having, say, 2 legs, and maybe they've got six team members each in their legs, but only 2 of those are your front line. It means that if you've not got 12cc outside of those people, then you could lose out on that sort of 1, 2, maybe more £1,000, which is just awful if it ever happened. So basically, guys, this wraps it up. Obviously, wanting you all to commit tonight that you're putting all the activity required to become full CC active this month, and obviously every month. We talk about this, we know why it's there. We've just gone through it tonight. It's just really recapping as well, like I said. I know a lot of you know what you're doing with this. Those of you who come on trainings, I know that you're doing it. I know that you're always active, but it's passing this information down as well. And I'm finding at the moment that as the teams are growing downwards, we're losing a little bit of that translation. So it's kind of like maybe third, fourth generation deep. It's kind of like, oh, we're not actually coaching that, and then they'll go, I don't really know what I'm doing, and I don't know where to find the training, and I'll just do 2 CC this month and see what happens next month, which means we've lost a little bit of that coaching, a little bit of that hand holding in the first 90 days. So it's quite important that we make sure that happens. So yes, that's it, I believe. It is. That's 17 slides. So it's just to recap, as I mentioned there, guys, on really something that was done before. I think it was beginning of December that we did it. I've just seen your comment, Jackie. That's how I got my gym stall. Apologies, I couldn't see that when I was doing that, so I'm not sure I didn't miss too much there. But yeah, it's just making sure that, if you've got anybody that's new in your team as well, feel free to, send them these trainings that I'm putting up at the moment. And they're all going on YouTube. They're all being recorded and saved. So again, if you feel like you've got somebody in the team and you've not got maybe time to coach them because of day jobs or different things like that, or maybe you are unsure of what to say about a certain part of the business, that's why I want to do these trainings, get them all up on YouTube, and then you can pass these down throughout your team. And obviously, as you work your way up, you can use these in potentially your team pages and obviously do your own in the future. But it's just to give you all the best help in terms of recruiting at the moment, because there's quite a lot of you, as I say, going to manager and stuff like that. Just quickly to touch on, before you all fly off, what's going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. I have, you're very welcome. I'm sorry if that was a bit repeated for some of you that know it, but I just want to reiterate that to you all in terms of going forward with your teams. Very quickly, I want to start opening some of these trainings up, guys, to you. I really want to start getting the team speaking. I don't want it to just be me every week going blah, 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 not blah, blah, because obviously it's important, but I don't want it to just be me that's kind of preaching at you. We've got a lot of people in the team now that have been here for quite a while and are, very, very competent, very good at the business. And I want to start sharing our ideas, our stories, maybe our experiences in the business, maybe good experiences, things that we've done that have gone well, things that maybe we've done that we've thought, I reinvented the wheel there, it didn't work, I need to pull back and go back to basics. I want to really share that. So, would you guys be up for kind of, obviously Chloe, you've just joined, bless you, not you, not just yet, but will you guys be up for kind of, if I sort of speak to you on the page and in private message, and being available to kind of speak to people and share ideas? Because I think obviously brilliant, because I think it's all right for me, and I've got a lot of experience in it, but I want to start having the team sharing with team, because I think that we're getting a lot closer on the team page, and I want that to be something that kind of comes across in trainings as well. And I know it's hard, but I also want to get more people on these trainings, and I think that would be good if we could start sharing a few stories and stuff. So thank you for that. And the final thing is that I want to also throw it out to you guys a little bit. I did this a while ago, and it didn't necessarily come off, but I don't think the team was as big and as kind of focused as we are right now. But I did something probably about 6 months back where I opened it up and I asked you guys what you'd want training on. And I think I got a couple saying recruiting and a couple saying retailing, and I did those. But I'm going to also pop on the page, what you guys want help with. I've had a couple of messages recently off team, which has been really nice actually, saying, can you go through how to do a successful planning meeting? Like what needs covering. So again, tonight I've gone through how to coach your team, but the actual first planning meeting that you have with somebody is crucial to make sure you touch on the actual bullet points to get them off to the best start. So that might be something that I might do that hopefully will kind of help you all in terms of you getting a new recruit and making sure that they know how to go forward with the business. But yeah, please feel free, guys, at any point. I will put a post up, but please feel free at any point to private message me, call me, or just pop on the page. Philippa, can you do a training on XYZ? Yeah, you can actually get it, Deb, on Forever. Which one is it? Forever Knowledge. Um, yeah. No, you said buy it though. Didn't you could buy it? I've just downloaded it. Where'd you buy it from? Website. Ah, that's quite interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. There you go. See, I didn't even know that. But yeah, no, maybe I'll have a look at that and we can share ideas on that. But maybe you can do a little talk on that, maybe for the team. So yeah, we'll look at it. But I just think I want you guys to give me, ideas because I can just talk and talk and talk about business, and I want you guys to know what it is that you want to hear. If you know what I mean. So thank you very much for tonight. That's really interesting. That I'm gonna have a look for that. I didn't even know it was there. Didn't even know it was there. Oh, fab, brilliant. I'll look into that. Maybe we'll do a little training on that actually. Then thank you for that, Deb. So yes, thank you for tonight. I'm gonna brilliant. Yes, please do. Thank you. I hope that's helped. I know it's a lot of stuff that a lot of us already know, but I want to go through a lot of basics and again be something that I can record and you can pass down to your teams as well. So thank you very much, guys. Keep going. It's sort of middle of Feb, so 2 weeks. It is a shorter month, so push, 4cc plus. And any questions,